All right, there we go. Okay. All right, so now I am live, and yes, I turned it off in time. Woohoo! All right. So it seems like I've spent the entire day on YouTube today. I had an interview this morning, or not really an interview, it was more of a discussion, a chat with Dan from System of a Down. System of a Down. The system is down, and it was a fun hangout. So that was enjoyable. And then I released a video that I did a response to, and so I figure I'd have a hangout afterwards and just chat with anybody who wants to chat about their thoughts on the video or the topic. And the topic is Wicca without witchcraft, and just people's thoughts on that, what they think of that, of what happens when you take out elements of witchcraft and what you have left. So if you want to join in, you'll have to send me a message on Twitter or Facebook, and I will be happy to send you the link. And I wonder if this is, I hope it's live. Should be. Yes, it is. Yeah, it is. Okay. All right. Let me see. Nobody in the chat yet. Guess people are watching. If not, I guess I'll have a hangout here by myself for a while. So, yeah. So I was, I set this up to also invite Maria if she wanted to come in and chat for a while and talk about her position. I contacted her and she was busy, so I said, well, that's okay. We can keep it open for next time. So it's an open invitation. Because I'd like to get her, like to give her a chance to rebut and to explain her position further. And I think it's really interesting to have discussions like this. It's also good to not let ourselves get too invested into the topic and become adamant and unwilling to change on our position. So I think that's why it's good to have a discussion about something like that afterwards, because sometimes you have a chance to think about your position and view the other person's position and say, well, actually, it hasn't changed my mind because such and such, or what you said here actually kind of strengthens my position, or whatever. So there's definitely more stuff to talk about. And I think that it's really interesting, the whole concept of European witchcraft has grown so much in the past 60 years, 50 years from what it once was. I don't know how big it was here in America before, let's say, 50 years ago. But definitely in England, it was pretty big. But it has changed and it's evolved. And if it's changed and evolved, maybe there's other aspects that have come up, or, it's just good to maybe reevaluate some of the terminology we use, reevaluate some of the positions we may have. Maybe there's things that need to be added. Some things that have grown into their own category, grown into a new life form or practice, or whatever you want to call it. Yeah, it is. It's an ever evolving and changing thing, in 50 years or 100 years, it'll probably be very different. So let me see. Hey, Kelvin, how's it going? I know you were in the chat earlier for that interview I had with Dan. That was fun, and I was trying to keep an eye on the chat, but I also wanted to listen to Dan, and I kept getting distracted by the chat. So I was like, all right, there's stuff I wanted to respond to in the chat, but I just couldn't do it because the minute I start typing and thinking about something and Dan's talking, I'm going to completely forget what he was talking about. And that's rude to have somebody on your channel talking for like, a couple of minutes, and then you're sitting there typing away, and then you turn to me and say, I'm sorry, what did you say? Were you talking? Who are you? What are you doing on my channel? So, yeah. So that's what this is for. I always hate starting these hangouts because I never know if anybody's watching it. Or let's see. All right. Hey, Shadow Sun, how's it going? Shadow Sun, you're another person who was in my chat earlier too. I'm just spending the whole day on YouTube. That's just what I'm going to do today. Today is just I'm not on YouTube for an entire week, and then just one day I'm on the whole day. That's what kind of a life I lead. I have to take everything in at once and absorb it all, and then all right, then go back to my regular life, and then next week do it again. I much prefer this. I have much more control over this world than I do of the mundane world. Crud. So, let's see. I'm gonna. Oh, you know what? I don't even. Oh, yes, I do have Twitter open. There it is. So yeah. So if anybody's following me on Twitter and they want to join in the conversation, shoot me a tweet, or if you're on Facebook and you'd like to join, shoot me a message on Facebook, and I will send you the link. And we can talk about it. I think it's a really interesting topic because I've heard people talk about witchcraft, and especially Wicca, and talk about how there's two components to it. There's the craft practice, or the witchcraft practice, and then there's the religious aspect to it. And I can understand that. I can see it. It's just that my video pretty much spells it out. But if you take elements of one thing away from something, and eventually you changed it into something completely different, it's no longer what it was. It's now something different. And that's how I view that concept of witchcraft, of Wicca, where people are taking out the witchcraft practice and just leaving the religious aspect. That makes absolutely no sense to me. And I'd really love to talk to somebody who practices this. I've never met anyone. I've never read a blog by anyone. I've never met anybody on Facebook or Twitter or YouTube, or I've never met anybody. I've never come across anybody who takes out the entire witchcraft practice and just leaves the components of, I don't know what they would, what did they take out and what did they leave? I think that would be very interesting to find out. Like, what do you consider to be a religious action? Do you consider, tarot cards? Is it a religious practice, or is it a magical practice? Divination, is it a religious practice or a magical practice? If you go back to, especially Egyptian times, it's like you have magic and you had religion, and they were basically one and the same thing. And then I don't know what happened, but at some point they began to diverge, and then you have religion, and then you had magic. When did the fork in the road happen? I missed that sign. Hey, Mary, how's it going? Good to see you in here, Mary. She makes great cloaks, by the way. Well, she makes more than just cloaks. She also makes clothing. She has a clothing line, and she has an Instagram too. If you're ever looking for clothing, it's kind of, I don't know, Mary, what would you call it? It's not really steampunk. It's kind of a gothic, maybe vampiric. It has a definite kind of gothic theme to it. I would say. But she sells some great stuff. You should check it out. She's on Instagram. I don't have Instagram on my computer. I think it's only on my phone. But yeah, that's what it is. Gothic and vintage. Yeah, exactly. And if you can, what was your Instagram page again? Or your Instagram? Because I know, was it Instagram? Yeah, it was Instagram. Yeah. Because I know you post a lot of your clothing on there. Kevin Fraser, I am on the left-hand path myself, yet I studied the occult on my own terms. Who's studying the occult on somebody else's terms? I didn't know you could do that. You can study the occult in your own terms? Wow. I'm just fucking with you, Kelvin. Of course. I mean, who else? What? Somebody knocks on your door and says, "Hey, this is how you study the occult." No, don't put that book down. No, you're not doing it right. Okay, yeah. So she's under Mary Morning there also, and it's morning as in morning, not morning as in good morning. So Kelvin, I'm actually very interested in the understanding what the left-hand path is. So if you want to have a hangout, let me know. If you want to join in, let me know. But I'll have to post. I'll have to give you the link through Twitter. But I'd be really interested to understand that, because I know people talk about the left-hand path, and I have an understanding of what it's supposed to mean, but I don't know exactly what. Do you only take left turns? Is it one of those type of things, or do you ever go right? I don't know. Do you just, I don't know. After you've made 2 left-hand paths, do you make a right? I don't know. But yeah, I'd be really interested in talking to you, Kelvin. So if you have a Twitter, hit me up on there. I'll send you the link. I mean, if you're interested. If you're not, don't worry about it. We can always do it another time too if you want. Let's see. Left-hand path is interesting. Forgive me, I am shy. Don't. Yeah, no worries, Kelvin. I just wonder what that is, what that means. Left-hand path. I don't know what that means. I mean, I have the concept idea, but I don't understand what the practice is, or what it means. I mean, does it mean that I don't know, that you drink out of a skull and, I don't know, sit in the dark, and I don't know. I mean, I don't know what the left-hand path is. It's just, I don't know. I don't know what that is. I mean, I don't want to insult anyone, but I mean, I have a very strong opinion that we are as complete people, we have insecurities, and we have jealousy, and we have insecurities, and we have we get angry with people, and we have all of these emotions inside of us, and some people have a better way of handling them than other people, and some people are, they're socially awkward, and maybe they don't like certain people, and I mean, all of these aspects of ourselves, which you could fall into categories of, like negative aspects of mankind and positive aspects of mankind, and positive aspects of life, and then negative aspects of life. You have life, and you have death, and you have disease, and then you have, I mean, life is just a balance of things. And if you are on this left-hand path, or a right-hand path for that matter, I don't know, you just ignore all the bad stuff in the world and all the good stuff in the world? Or, I mean, how can you escape not experiencing joy and sorrow, death and life and happiness and pain? I mean, it's just, you're going to experience all those different things. So I often wonder what people mean by a left-hand path. or even a right-hand path for that matter. I think being only right-hand path is very disturbing to me. Like if you, and I know there's people who are very, much into this love and light thing, but if you're into nothing but love and light and you don't look at the other aspects of yourself and the world around you, then you're living half a life. And I think it's the same thing with the left-hand path. Don't want to insult you, but that's what I'm curious about too. I have a tough time explaining myself. Yeah, I can understand that. I have a hard time explaining myself too. And sometimes it's, especially when you get into really complex issues, sometimes words start to escape you and you have a hard, or at least I do, I have a hard time formulating a cohesive thought or putting, taking complex things and then simplifying them down into plain English that somebody else can understand. Yeah, it's difficult. I can understand that. I focus on my life, on my path. Okay. Let me see. Shadow Sun, primarily because I didn't originally come to it with the idea. Oh wait, I missed the beginning of this conversation. Not much. Doing good. Shadow Sun says, I just watched the video. I used to believe this way. Okay. Primarily because I didn't originally come to it in the idea of magic. I believed at the time that was something you did as a form of practice or only when you needed it at certain times. Oh, okay. Yeah. Talking about the concept of taking magic out of witchcraft. I think that there are people who maybe don't have, they practice magic, but they don't necessarily have a religious component around that. And then I think there's people who practice a magical tradition, like myself. A religious component is definitely in there. So I can definitely see the two things. But yeah, I mean, I remember when I came to YouTube and I watched somebody's video, and that was the first thing that we got into a discussion about was how magic, or I forget exactly how the conversation went. I think we were talking about Wicca, and they were talking about how people practice magic, but there's no religious component to it. And yeah, okay, I can understand that. There's nothing wrong with that. I mean, you don't have, there's no rules, to any. It's one good thing that I think a lot of us are drawn to this. Even the words sometimes we have to be careful with because we'll leave somebody out. But paganism as an umbrella term that includes witches and pagans and all these other people under it. All of these groups, we're very much against dogma. We're very much against, what we have to believe or whatever, or, and so we forge it ourselves. We create it ourselves. And so it becomes very individualistic. And then having somebody, give a different opinion, like, well, my practice is this way and I believe this about it. And you're like sitting there going, what? Huh? That's not how I see it. And it doesn't mean that one is right or wrong. It's just that these people, we have different opinions about it. And that's what we're doing, is we're sharing our opinions on it. Of course I'm right, but, I'm extremely unique, because I'm always right. It's my channel. I'm right. Damn it, you're wrong. It's just the way it is. Just get that through your thick skull and we can be friends. No, I'm just kidding. Let me see. Okay. I focus on life and my path. Okay, yeah, I got that one. It's so important to experience life from both sides because it puts things in context. Yeah, I agree. That is from Erisar. Hey, Erisar. Like magic for show. Oh, no, not magic for show. Not like stage magic. No, talking about magic with a K. Forgive me if I'm a little ignorant, but is that similar to atheistic Wiccans? I don't know. I mean, the reason why I hesitate so much is because I guess I would be technically an atheistic Wiccan. Let me see. Let me get back to that because I have to think about that one for a second. Crow Song Lodge. Hello, Crow Song Lodge. Laughing out loud. I feel that. I also suffer from being always right. Yeah. Yeah, it's only the best of us have to suffer with always being right. I know it's such a burden, such a burden. So welcome, Crow Song. Let me see. Let me check my Twitter, see if I got any messages from anybody. No? Okay, nobody wants to join. All right. I'll check my Facebook now. Still no. Okay. So just a reminder, if you want to join in the chat, I have to invite you either through Twitter or Facebook. So if you're following me on Twitter, send me a message and I'll send you the link so that you can pop in. If you'd like to be on, the down below in the down bar, there should be, and I'm going to have to post it right now, there should be my links to my various social media, which I'm going to put in right now. If you want, you can send me, you can follow me on Twitter. I will send you the link and you can come and hang out and we can chat. See if I did this. So it should be in there. Yeah, it should be. Let me see. Oh, I have to put it here. There we go. So if you'd like to hang out and chat about this topic or any other topic that we're talking about, hit me up on Twitter, and I'll send you the link, and I'll get you in here. Let me see. Yeah. Okay. Good. Yeah. So it's down there. So okay. Good. Yeah. So the link is down there. All right. What did I miss? Let me see. RSR left out loud. Temple of Set is left-hand path, isn't it? Temple. Yeah, I guess so. Temple of Set is the temple started by Michael Aquino and his wife. They started the Temple of Set after they split from the Church of Satan back in the 70s, like 80s, 90s. I forget exactly when they split from the Church of Satan. So yeah, I guess I don't know. I don't know if they would consider themselves left-hand path or Satanists. I don't know what they would consider themselves. I don't know too. You know what? I did know a lady who was in the Temple of Set a long time ago. I think she called herself a Satanist. I don't know if she called herself of the left-hand path. I would be willing to join if you would like. Sure, Arisar. Hit me up on Twitter, and I'll send you the link. Just watch the video, and I have to ask your intro. That's Vincent Price with Alice Cooper's The Black Widow. It's definitely Vincent Price's Laugh. Yeah, it's Vincent Price's Laugh. Maybe it's from that. I don't know. I don't know what movie it's from. So maybe it is, but it's definitely Vincent Price's Laugh. Let's see. I think a lot of it has to do with the books that are out there. Not all of them, but some of them can really mix people. Yes, actually, that's an excellent observation, Shadow Sun, and I agree with you. Because people put a lot of stake into some authors, and some authors, you know, you look at the back of the book, you can see where they got the information, but oftentimes, especially in the evolving pagan witchcraft, often, you know, the culture, people just throw things in there and not really say exactly where it comes from. You know what I mean? It's throw it in there, and you know, it's just part of it's just their opinion, you know. rarely, like some of the books are just, there's hardly any references. It's just like there's your book, and the reference was, well, Buckland's blue book, or Buckland's book of complete witchcraft, and that was about it. And then some mythology books, but there's a lot of information in this book, so I don't know where you got all of it. However, okay, let me see. I put a link about the left-hand path. Mary, yes. Oh, you put a link. It'll probably get, yeah, because you don't have, it won't let you put links in here. But if you want, you can put it in a comment below or in my video, and it'll go to a review folder, and then from there I can approve it. However, I'm not Setian, the Temple of Set, right? Michael Aquino and Lilith Sinclair. Yeah, okay, that's her name. Oh, I didn't know that was her name. I've always seen her. I've seen her, but I didn't know her name was Lilith Sinclair. Mary Morning, probably one of the Roger Corman movies. Okay. Michael Jackson's Thriller. Ah, that's where it's from. Okay. Oh, that could be it, Kelvin. I have to listen again. Those two laughs are similar. Yeah, it's definitely Vincent Price, so maybe it is from Michael Jackson's Thriller, which I think it might be. Let me check my Twitter, if anybody sent me a message. Ah, here we go. Ah, okay. Yes, let me give you the link. So I don't want to say the person's name, but the person who sent me a message on Twitter, I just sent you the link, so check your Twitter. Man, let me see. So yeah. So I mean, I've actually wanted to talk to a Luciferian, and I've also wanted to talk to someone who considers themselves a left-hand path. Those are two people I definitely want to interview and find out more about them. Find out what it is it means to them, why they identify with that particular word. So yeah, I'd like to find out more. And there's sometimes other people who, it's always interesting to talk with people. How's it going, Aerosar?
It's going great. About yourself?
Good, good.
Am I coming through a lot clearer than I was last time?
Yeah, you're a little quiet.
Yeah, I'm sorry. My microphone wasn't doing so good.
Okay. So let me see here. Okay, so let me see. I'm going back to some of your comments here. You said it's important to sprint. Okay, yeah. I'd like magic to show. You mentioned something about atheistic Wiccans. What was that about?
Oh, all I meant was you mentioned about people practicing magic, but not having a religious component to it. And I was wondering if atheistic Wicca would fall under that category.
I guess it would. Yeah. Yeah, it's funny because like when it's like when I hear the word Wicca and other people hear the word Wicca, I think it conjures up two different things to those people. Like
Right.
I'm thinking of like traditional Wicca, like British traditional Wicca, where specifically like Gardnerian and Alexandrian traditions, those two. Even though there's many more from that, but just those two. And you don't practice that solitary. There's no way you can. It has to be in a group. You have to have at least 2 or 3 people to practice it. And there's very specific god names that are used in that. And so practicing Wicca that way, I don't think you could be. You could have an atheistic belief, but you couldn't be. You couldn't practice. Well, I guess you could. Let me take that back. I think you could. But I think maybe traditional Wicca I don't know. I don't know if they would recognize. I guess they would. I guess they would. I mean, when I was in a coven, I was kind of like, I mean, I was already atheistic, but I just didn't really say it. Um, I mean, I always have been, but I just never said anything about it. Um, so I mean, I treated the gods and the goddess as I have always treated them, as my concept and my understanding of them has evolved, as looking at them as the universal archetype of male and female. So you could see, all gods are one god, or all goddesses are one goddess. And even though I don't like that concept, that's what it essentially comes down to for me. Even though I know that each manifestation of various deities have stronger elements to them, and then not so strong elements.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, I guess it would be atheistic Wicca, because if you practice Wicca without a religious component, and you would only focus on the magical part, that would still be Wicca. You'd still be practicing witchcraft, but you just wouldn't have the religious aspect to it.
Right.
And also, I think there's people who are religious and spiritual, but they don't necessarily believe in a higher power or a deity. I think that religious concepts you don't have to have a deity to follow like a religious framework. But maybe that's a whole nother question too.
Yeah. Yeah. Because then you're getting into like symbolism. Because then you're getting into a symbolism of sort.
You're getting into a symbolism?
Yeah, it's symbolism of what the gods represent, instead of, oh, I believe that there is a actual physical deity. Versus, I mean, that's also getting into anthropology, and a lot of cultures would believe in a symbolism like foliate foliate masks and things like that to represent a deity. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I'm just wondering if I'm understanding the term you're using, symbolism. So, yeah, I don't think I understood what you said, and
I apologize.
that's not your fault. That's my fault.
No, it's fine. I probably could have explained it a little better. One thing that kind of permeates a lot of older societies is a symbolism, a need to represent things. Like, for example, the stories of old tribes making like statues out of clay of buffalo or things like that, and then reenacting taking down said animal and then using that as a sort of ritual to represent the coming hunt.
Okay, right. Okay. So sort of like what anthropologists would call contagious, not contagious, but what's the term? Not contagious magic. I just had it too.
I know exactly what you're talking about because I was just looking at that the other day too.
Yeah, it's a form of magic.
Is it symbiotic magic or something?
I think that might be it. Symbiotic, maybe. Well, it's something. I understand what you're talking about. You're talking about what you're doing is you're going through the ritual of the hunt in hopes that the hunt itself would become successful.
Right, which doesn't require a belief in a said deity. It's more like you're just representing what you want to happen.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
Sorry. Yeah. Let me see. I got distracted here. Let me see. Let me go back to something. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So Crow Song said like a more psychological construct or more of a universal energy. Exactly. Yes. Exactly. How do you practice Wicca as an atheist? That's how I practice Wicca as an atheist. Is I don't. I don't necessarily believe in a god and a goddess, but I do believe in that energy. I do believe in like I said, the archetypes, and so that's how I view them. And that's how I view all gods. I see all gods outside of us as archetypes of elements within ourselves. So that's how I see them. Like if you ever see, I'm talking to the chat right now, just so you know, Arisar. But if you ever see Greek or Roman mythology, you see that they're petty, they're jealous, they're fighting, they're very human, and that's kind of how I perceive the idea, the concept of gods is their representation, their elements of ourselves, almost like our subconscious selves. And they can be petty, and they can be they can do all these things. But they're essentially eternal because they're, as one generation leaves, another generation takes them up. So, even traditional practitioners have their own gods that they work with. Yeah, exactly. So, King Pooh, still consider yourself a guard? Yes, unfortunately. Well, not unfortunately. Yeah, I'm very proud to be a Gardnerian. I think there's some Gardnerians who wish I would maybe go away, but tough luck. And I think that then I think there's some who just don't agree with me, and maybe there's some that do agree with me. But I'm not really I wouldn't consider myself a very active one anymore. Like I'm not in a coven right now. But from my understanding, when I was initiated, it's like, you essentially, it's kind of like you join for life if you want. You don't have to, but if you want, you're a Gardnerian for life, unless you yourself decide to denounce it or you get exiled or excommunicated, which hasn't happened to me. So, yes, I'm still. Now, whether or not I'm in good standing, if you ever talk to my high priestess, I don't know. Maybe she's like, that's it. Fuck that guy. He's not getting a good comment from me. I'm just catching up on the chat. Accidentally release a demon into the house. Hey, what should you do if you accidentally release a demon into the house? That is a very good question, Taylor Wolf. What you'll need to do is you're going to have to get $20 bills. They have to be very crisp $20 bills, and I'm going to give you an address that you're going to send this to, and just drain your bank account. You can leave $1 in there or whatever, but send everything else as $20 to me, and I will cast a spell and get rid of that demon for you. Okay? But clause, you can't get the money back, and I'm any responsibility I'm absolved of. And I'll be happy to exercise that demon for you.
I don't know how you could say that with a straight face.
What are you talking about? I was being legit.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah. Hey, I'll create an exorcism on the fly for enough money. So my apologies, Arisar. I was getting distracted by the chat.
No big
So
deal.
yeah, I think you could be an atheist Wiccan. I mean, even the term Wiccan itself is kind of it's really, I think it's overused, and it's become too ballooned because there's various different types of Wiccans, but nobody's really defining those anymore. So I know
gets into
go ahead.
into a very interesting conversation, actually.
Mm-hmm.
I apologize. I interrupted you a little bit.
No, that's all right.
I was just going to mention that that's actually something I've had on my mind for a little while. First off, am I coming through okay?
Yeah, like I said, you're a little quiet, but
yeah, I don't know why I'm doing that. I don't know why it's doing that to me, but I'll try to speak up and see if that helps. So I've been thinking about this recently a lot. I've been curious about. There's been so many forms of Wicca and just witchcraft in general that it's hard to see, and I hate to say it like this, but what's real witchcraft and what's not witchcraft. Do you see what I mean? I hate to word it like that because it makes me feel like I'm saying, well, this witchcraft is real witchcraft and this isn't. But it's hard to define where that line is.
Yeah, and also I think, what are you measuring true witchcraft by?
And that's just it. I don't know. It's just something that I've been thinking of is in general where like should we draw a line? Should we, meaning, just pagans in general, should we draw a line of where this is a pagan, like have some sort of structure, or should we just let it go everywhere?
If you were asking me that question, I think there would be clear lines that define various traditions.
Right.
Um, but I know that there's a lot of people who are very eclectic in their practice. So let me redefine how I would draw boundaries. Like I would draw boundaries between, say, like heathenry, northern practices, Asaratru, those practices, and then you separate those into their categories, and then you have like maybe Reconstructionist pagans of various cultures, and you divvy those up, and then you have people who identify as Druids or other other forms of quote unquote paganism, because I don't have a better term to encapsulate all these various people with different beliefs. But those people I would separate into various categories. And then you have voodoo, and you have Santeria, and you have Bruja, and then you have European witchcraft, and then European witchcraft, you have other boxes. So I would separate all these things into their each individual boxes. And if you begin, if you're practicing Asaratru and you're eclectic and you start practicing and bringing in like Santeria into your practice, and you start mixing those two, it's like, so you're no longer in either one of those boxes, and now you're in this eclectic box. So
Right.
it becomes difficult to really kind of keep separation, but I think we should keep separation. Like I I don't I personally have never been drawn to Santeria voodoo, not mainly because, well, I'm not interested in it, but it's also not my culture.
Mm-hmm.
It's not what I grew up with, It wasn't something that I grew up. I didn't have any connection to it, so I never got into it. But I do know that there are a lot of, people who practice quote unquote European witchcraft, that are European descent, who very much enjoy practicing voodoo or Santeria, but I don't understand what their connection is to it. You know what I mean? I'm assuming they have some kind of a connection, or they enjoy practicing it or whatever, but it's not part of my identity and part of my culture. And I think it's important to understand that different practices are bound to certain cultures, and there's nothing bad about that. It's just how it is. I think anybody can practice witchcraft. We're not going to sit there and judge somebody and say, hey, you're not European enough to practice witchcraft, so sorry, you're going to have to leave. Nobody's going to say that to anybody, but I think we should have respect for certain traditions. Like
Yeah.
if I'm going to be practicing Gardner's form of witchcraft, I'm not going to be throwing in an element of voodoo or Santeria into the mix, because it doesn't have anything to do with it. That's a tradition, and I have respect for that tradition, and I'm not going to muck it up. Well, not even muck it up, but I mean, it's just that I don't have any reason to throw in anything extra into it. you know. But
Yeah.
again, you have people who are eclectic, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with being eclectic and taking bits from this and bits from that and forming and creating your own unique individual practice. Because when it comes down to it, it's an individualistic practice, and each person develops their own practice, and they should have every right to do that. Um, I don't know if that answered your question.
Oh, it very much did. I appreciate that.
Okay.
It's definitely something I've been thinking about recently, because I mean, there's some people that are new age and they like to think of. And I'm not saying this to make fun of anybody's traditions or anyone's beliefs, but I personally don't really believe in the whole crystal craze of I'm gonna put crystals in a glass of water and get good vibes from it. I personally don't believe in that, but I have respect for someone who does. It's hard to look at that and, think to myself that that's someone else's tradition, and I don't want to be rude to anybody's tradition. But I mean, there's some people that have some very, very out there, like mixing certain traditions and then saying they're part of all of them at the same time, and it's maybe it's because I'm newer to Wicca that maybe I'm just not understanding all of it, but it's hard from an outsider's point of view.
Yeah, and I understand. I don't think you should think of it as you're coming from an outsider's point of view, because I don't think there's really like an inner circle and an outer circle of the quote unquote pagan community. I think online on YouTube, it's kind of like it's almost like created that, but most people got into, or at least the way that I got into witchcraft and stuff like that, is I just read about it and it interested me, and I started reading about it, and I started studying more about it, and that's what I did. And then I finally went to I finally met some other people who were interested in witchcraft, and we got together and we talked, and we got together and we had a little group, and later on I met other people and we had like meetups, and then I joined the group, and then I joined a coven, and it's then you join a group. But for the most part, it's always been my own personal path, and I think that whatever your path is as long as it feels right to you and you feel a connection to it, I think that's really all that matters. So when I see other people and I don't understand their practice at all, like it makes absolutely no sense to me whatsoever, I'm confused by it. But if it works for them, it works for them. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let me get a couple of questions here before I get too far along.
Sure.
Them. One was by Crow Song Lodge. Oh yeah, okay. She mentioned that word. Okay, she had another question. She said, "Do you think it has been diluted enough, Wicca, to no longer really hold meaning?" No. I think it's actually good because, and I did a video on this, there's, again, that box. You can have a box which essentially is kind of Wicca. There's certain elements you can take and you can say, oh, that's a Wiccan practice. You can do that because it's been so well known and so many different authors have taken up that title and used it. So it's become, there's different types of Wicca. And so like people who study British traditional Wicca, and then they get specific about, what type of British traditional practice it is if it's Gardnerian or Alexandrian, and then from there you have other branches that branch off from those, because there's different types of Gardnerians and there's different types of Alexandrians, and then there's different types of, like, there's a Blue Star, which I don't know much about at all. There's a Blue Star tradition. I'm sure there's some other ones that I'm just forgetting about. Then there's like Dianic Wicca, and then there was the Minoan Brotherhood, and there's all these other different forms of essentially Wicca, but they have just different names for them. So I think that's what it is. It's like saying witchcraft. Okay, what type of witchcraft? And you have to kind of break it down from there. But I think it does still hold meaning, but I think it's being used too much. It's too small of a word to hold so much. And I think we need to start accepting that maybe we need to break it down into smaller categories, so we can say, oh, well, here's here's Gardnerian Wiccans, and then here's Dianic Wiccans, and then here's whatever. I think. And some people did do that for a while, and I don't know, it just kind of died out. But I think we should just get rid of the term Wicca, but it also helps to define it. So I don't know. I don't have a good answer for that. It's just, what language should serve a purpose. If I'm saying something to you and all it's doing is raising more questions for you, that's not helping. So I need to adjust my language. So maybe that's what we need to do with witchcraft and paganism. And we just need to start creating more language. But also, I don't know who's the central authority to dictate that.
I feel that it's kind of a battle of, what's the word I'm looking for? It's kind of a battle of structure versus openness, like being open to, something new coming in, but still having a structure to judge by. I guess that might come off a little weird. Does that make any sense at all?
No, I'm sorry. Can you repeat that?
Oh, I was just saying that I feel like it kind of boils down to, should there be a line between a structure of some sort versus being open to something that's new and maybe unique? A balance between the two. Because you don't want to be too structured to not let something new in. Something new so you can grow and evolve. But you don't want to be too open to allow so many new things that it muddles what the definition is.
Yeah, that's definitely something to think about.
Yeah. Shower thoughts.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't really have I don't know what to say about that, because I do agree with you. I think that there is I think you shouldn't like set yourself up to just stop, like, like, okay, I've absorbed this much information and that's it. I'm never going to allow any more information in. To me, that sounds ridiculous. Like if we find out more information about witchcraft, I think that we should definitely take that information in. If we find out something new about folklore or some association with some kind of a practice like witch bottles or witch markings or various different things, if we get new information, I think we should take that information in and possibly build upon it, start incorporating it into our practice, because that's what like a reconstructionist approach to witchcraft would be, and that's something that I'm very interested in, is doing a reconstruction of ancient European witchcraft. But there's just not that much information out there on medieval witchcraft. So, we have to rely upon whatever information we have presently by the authors that we read. But I also believe that to a certain degree, I mean, for myself, the way that my practice is, it's very ritualistic. So I enjoy having that liturgy that I memorize and I use. And it's like, it's the same thing whenever I go in, whenever I go into a ritual, it's the same thing during the ritual, usually different, almost always different, no matter what it is. But there's still certain components that are part of the ritual, and then the closing ritual. So I enjoy that aspect, because my mind sort of, I don't have to concentrate on certain things. I can just sort of go through the motions and do it. And it's very easy to me,
Yeah.
But I have seen people, and I've also participated in kind of like a free-for-all sort of ritual, where you just make it all up at once. And yeah, there's something about that. There's something about that. Sometimes it can go really good, and sometimes it can go bad. I think it just depends upon what appeals to you more. Like if you feel like it's more of a primal emotional connection that you create in the moment and that's it, or if you feel like it's something that you want to do and you've done it before and you feel very comfortable with it, and it becomes ritualistic. So I think it's going to appeal to some people and not appeal to others. Let me see. Same vein as Christian, like in many sects and denominations. Yeah. The Crosong Lodge was just mentioning Gardnerian, Dianic. It's yeah. I mean, you start listing them all. There's like there's Gardnerian Witchcraft, and then there's Alexandrian Witchcraft, and then there's Sex Wicca, and then there's Dianic Wicca, and then there's um, uh, Celtic Wicca, and then there's Eclectic Wicca, and then there's I mean you can just keep breaking it down if you want.
Right.
I like the liturgy against fear. It never goes out of date. That's from Animist. Hey, Animist, how's it going? And the more you do the same ritual, the stronger it gets built in. Yeah, exactly. And so I feel much more comfortable going into it, that way. Animist says every practitioner should get to try a little jazz magic, improvising with a mixed group once in a while. Yeah, and I agree with Animist. I think you should try something, go out there and do something that maybe challenges you a little bit. And, if anything, just find out it's not for you, I'm a little hypocritical because I don't go out and practice other things, but that's because I don't have any interest in them, I mean, if I was invited to, like, let's say a voodoo ritual, yeah, I'd probably go and attend it. And if they wanted me to participate, and it was something that I felt comfortable in doing in the ritual, yeah, I would probably do it, But if I felt like, I had to memorize something or do something, it would, I don't know. I don't know if I would do it then. But I'm not going to say I never will. It's just, so yeah, I agree with Animist there. Let's see.
I actually really agree with you on the idea of having a set kind of list of things that you do, like for a ritual, and once you get down with the motions and you have like a set way of doing it, that you can kind of grow from there. That's kind of what I strive for as well. I like to have a little bit of structure, but still, be open to growth.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And that's kind of where I'm at right now, as I'm, with me practicing my path. I like that there is a set list of things that you do for different rituals. I like that. Maybe down the road I'll, change it and do something different, but for now I'm pretty pleased with what I have.
Yeah. Yeah, and if it works for you, it works for you, Yeah. I mean, that's when it comes that's what it comes down to for me. It's like if I don't agree with your tradition, and I have like maybe a negative opinion about it, I don't have to practice it. So, if it works for you and maybe other people don't agree with it, who fucking cares? That's your practice. It's not theirs. You're not going to inviting them over to join circle with you. So who cares what they do? Like if somebody's idea to me of a ritual is, I don't know, doing something weird or, whatever it is that they do, if that's what they want to do, I don't care. It's up to them. They can do whatever they want.
Like that video you uploaded the other day of the ritual.
Oh, yeah, right.
Some dude just air humping the ground repeatedly.
I know. That video, I've been sitting on that video for so long because I couldn't believe it because I checked out that guy's channel and I was looking at some of his stuff and I go, oh, it's very interesting. So he created his own style, and it's looked like it was based off Enochian, and so you could see elements of probably where he got the ideas from and built upon and changed and made his own. And I was watching some of his videos and they all seem to be kind of doing the same thing, building it up, like, oh, you can become a god, send me money and I'll show you how to do it. And then I saw that video and I was like, you gotta be fucking kidding me. And I always had that video there and I was like, I gotta figure out some way to use this in a video somehow. And I was just going to use it because it's only like 3 minutes long or something. I was going to use like a clip of it in another video, and then I ended up watching it, and I just started. I said, I got to do a video response to this, and I've been trying to play with other elements, and so I figured I would just, for like half the video, I'd say absolutely nothing and just communicate entirely through my facial expressions, and that's it. And that's what I did, and it turned out fun.
Yeah, I agree. It's one of those things where you can watch it in silence and you'll get the full gravity of how dumb it comes off. It's just, I was just kind of sitting there in disbelief, and it seemed like that's kind of the route you're going as well. And are they really fucking doing this? I felt a brain cell die from that one.
Yeah, it was the funniest part was when he knocked over one of the wooden, they were probably like styrofoam or wood crosses, which was supposed to be a gravestone. I was like, oh man,
yeah,
that's it. I mean, it was like the clincher right there. It was like the whole backdrop just fell, and you saw the camera and the lights and everything. It was just like, okay, yeah, no, that's bullshit. It's all staged.
To make matters worse, it looked like a crappy little like college film or something, because they just kept rolling. It's like the backdrop fell, and they're like, "Fuck it, just go."
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. That was a fun one to do. But that guy, he's not EA Coding or Coding, whatever his name is. That's some other guy. So.
All right.
Yeah. At least I don't think it is. It could be. I don't know. I haven't seen that guy's channel for a long time. I'll have to go back and take a look. But I don't think he's the same one.
Yeah, I'd never even heard of him before.
Yeah. So let's see. See if anybody else is. Nope. Okay. All right. I had been wanting to make more video responses where I just kind of talk to the camera and do those more, and so I've been trying to do those more, get away from the other type of videos that I do, which are the video response, not big production, but I mean I put a lot more time and effort into those videos, and you put in time and effort too when you're doing face-to-face, but it's a little different, and it can go faster for me because I don't have to insert things and have them slide in and out. I don't have to like every time I have my card on there, I actually animate the card, and when things come in and out, I animate those. So just having the camera talking to it, it's easier. I don't have to edit all those things in. So it's kind of fun to do it that way.
Yeah, it kind of seems like a live stream, almost like we're watching it with you, like you've been doing with your premieres.
Yeah, which is fun. I enjoy doing the premieres because then you get to watch the video, then you get to see the people interacting with your video and interacting with each other, and what parts they think are funny and which parts stand out for them. Like, because some of the parts I see in the video, they stand out for me, but for other people in the chat, they see certain parts that stand out for them. Like, oh, I like that part, and it's fun.
Yeah,
I enjoy doing it. It's a lot of fun.
Well, if I ever set up a YouTube channel that I'll actually upload to, I'll definitely give it a shot.
Yeah, and I'm always trying to push like animist in the chat into making a channel, but I mean it's maybe I don't think everybody has to have a channel, but if it's something that interests you, I think you should definitely do it. But if you don't have any interest in it, there's really no reason to do it. I mean, it's fun if that's the type of thing you enjoy, but you can also get a lot of negativity. You get a lot of people come in your comment section just being a dick, and so you have to have sort of a tough skin because a lot of people will try to attack you. They'll make fun of your appearance, your voice, your this, your that. They'll try to figure out some way to get under your skin and bother you. So if you're a type of person
Right.
easily irritated, probably not a good thing for you. If you're somebody who can just like listen to somebody say, "Oh, look at you, you old guy with big ears, you don't know what you're talking about." If you can just sit there and just ignore that person and just say, "Yeah, well, go fuck yourself," then it's okay. Then you don't care.
Yeah.
And yeah. So, all right. Well, I think I'm probably gonna slowly start wrapping this up. But I know I think I talked with you before, Arisar, and I don't know. Did I ask you what you practice, or if you do have a practice that you identify?
Yeah, we talked about it briefly. I've been following currently Raymond Buckland's Seax Wicca.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, and I'm really enjoying that. He seems to have a lot of ideas of like structure and things like that. But I'm
Mm-hmm.
also being careful not to just read his stuff. I want to like be like a shotgun, just read all kinds of books from all kinds of different authors. And see, my parents are Wiccan too, so
Oh, okay.
they all, yeah, it's a Wiccan family.
Cool.
So, yeah, we've all read different kinds of books, and we all have different
Now, are
ideas.
they are they Gardnerian, or they're just Wiccan?
As far as I'm aware, they're just Wiccan. They all have kind of taken their own little aspects of things over the years. Yeah, my mom, she's really tried just about everything, and there was a time where she even went to Christianity for a while, and she did not stick with that for very long.
Mm.
Yeah, she couldn't find much to keep her enthralled.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, my mom's the kind of person that just kind of takes everything and, kind of adds to it. She'll kind of add it together as she grows and experiences things, and I'm the same way. So we all will trade books and stuff. Like right now, she's reading, I think it's Raven Silver Wolf,
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, just we all try different things and see how they work. So right now, my current path right now, I'd call it CX Wicca.
Mm. Nice. Now, have you read Janet and Stuart Farrar's books?
No, not yet. I'm pretty sure I've seen it looking around some local bookstores, and I've thought about getting them,
Mhm.
but it's all a matter of money and all that stuff. And
Well, if you
yeah,
well, if you ever have a chance, like maybe even if your local library has it, I would recommend it. I think it's really good. It gives you a really good understanding of what, like, quote unquote traditional Wicca was coming out of the 60s and 70s. And I think it's really good to know the roots of a tradition. You don't necessarily have to practice it, but I think it's important to understand, you know, where you are and how you got there, and essentially whose backs we stepped on to get here. And
right,
I think definitely Janet and Stuart Farrar are one of those people for English Wicca, which came to America via Raymond Buckland. But I mean, I think it's really good just to understand the roots. Period. It's not like you have to study that and only practice it, but I think it's good to understand those roots.
right. I'll definitely check them out. I really do enjoy recommendations, especially from people that I have a lot of respect for. So yeah, I'll definitely check them out.
Mm-hmm. Oh, cool. Yeah, yeah. Because I think you'll enjoy the book, and they go into a lot of the history and um, uh, Stewart for, and I always mispronounce their last name. It's actually Farrar, and I think it's Farah, and I always say Farrar. So I always mispronounce their last name. But he was a science fiction writer, and so he was a very good writer. So I find their books very easy to read. Like like Aleister Crowley, I have a very hard time reading Aleister Crowley, but uh, Stuart Farrar, I can definitely. It's much easier to read his stuff or their stuff, really.
Yeah, I've tried looking at some of the older, like the occultists, I guess you could call them, from like the 1800s and
Yeah.
like Eliphas Levi and all that. And the farther back you go, it gets much harder to read.
And Eliphas Levi has that same kind of pompous way of talking, and then it's the same.
Almost
Yeah,
like
it's
I have mystic knowledge, so that makes me somewhat better than you.
yeah, it's just like you read it, and you can just kind of hear this sort of you can hear the little kind of a condescending, pompous attitude in his voice. But yeah, he was a good writer. So let me see. So yeah, so good. Yeah, so I think I'll probably wrap it up. I just thought I'd come on for an hour or so after that video and just hang out for a while. Been spending the whole day on YouTube, it seems.
Yeah, I was actually really surprised. I was at work today, and I know you usually seem to upload a little later, so
Mm-hmm.
I get on break and I look at my phone. I'm like, oh shoot, he's uploading videos. Dang it, I'm not gonna be there.
Oh,
But it's all right. They're all on YouTube. I'll watch them.
yeah, exactly. You can always watch them later. But yeah, I usually do try to post stuff like after 5 p.m. or 3 p.m. is usually the time that I like to post them. And I live in the Pacific time zone, so 3 p.m. my time. And at least like I don't have a consistent schedule, and that's really bad. I should get a consistent schedule, but I try to upload at least something every week, so people don't forget I exist.
Right.
But it's true though. If you want to if you want to really grow your channel, you kind of have to create like videos. You have to put them like out every day. But I don't want to do that, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to be cranking out videos that get out there, but they're not going to be videos that I'm going to appreciate, that I'm that I would like to have. I'd much prefer just hold off for like a week and create a really good video and put it out there, rather than just pump out videos after videos after videos.
Right. And see, when I was taking video editing classes and things like that, my teachers always told me the big thing that you want to do when you do make videos is, can you sit down and watch it as a viewer, and would it be something you'd be interested in watching?
Mm.
And I feel like that's kind of what you do with your hangouts and your premieres. Is I feel like it's almost like you turn on the video at a movie theater, and then you run into the crowd and just sit down with the fans and just experience it with us.
Mm. Well, thank you. But yeah, yeah. I mean, it's funny. It's like, because when I'm editing the videos, it's like I watch them like, I don't know, like 100 times it seems, and I do enjoy watching the videos, but sometimes I feel like I get too wrapped up in like watching the videos rather than like tweaking little elements that I should tweak. Because you kind of go through stages, at least I do when I'm creating a video, where I kind of go through stages of, okay, so I did the audio, okay, so now, okay, what in here is kind of funny, what can I throw in? You start kind of like building, it's like building layers on a cake. And then you get to a certain point, you get towards the top of the layer of the cake, and you're like, maybe I should shift this over like, like a half a second or 1 second, or take this part out, or maybe I should clip this. And then you start tweaking it, and then you find out you could just keep tweaking it, and just keep tweaking it. And at some point you're just like, okay, okay, I'm done. I have to stop, and that's what happens with me, is I get to that certain point, and then I just have to stop, because otherwise I'm never going to put it out. I'm just going to keep tweaking it and tweaking it.
Yeah, I ran into the exact same issue when I was editing videos. It's just, you never stop. It can never be perfect.
Yeah, exactly. And you kind of have to get it to a certain point where you're happy with it. You're like, you know what, this is good. I'm gonna let it go. Like even now, when I watch the Carly Franz video, I see things in there that I wish I would have changed, but at the time I just didn't do it, and so that's it. I just let it go. However, I do have a copy on my hard drive that I did make changes on. I just didn't upload it to YouTube because it was driving me nuts. I had to make the changes, so I made the changes on my hard drive. But they're like little minor changes, like when she burps, the little image of the word burp coming and then dissolving. That was it. It was just like a little tiny tweak. And there was
But
one
it's
other.
just enough to like drive you insane.
Yeah, I'm joking. But it was like something I go, oh, I wish I would have done that, Or later on, you see something like, oh, I should have said this instead of that, and So anyhow, at some point, you just have to say, fuck it, just all right, that's it. I put it out there, that's it, And I've been happy with the past couple of videos that I did, the Carly Franz one and the how to become a living God video ritual thing. And these were two styles that they're not usually what I do. So it was good to be able to do a different format or a different style and then have people like it, And then I was like, oh, okay, it's cool. I'm onto something here. Because if I like did something and it was unusual and I put it out there and people were like, I don't hear anything, like it's just crickets. I'm like, oh, okay. I don't think people like this. Because most viewers are pretty nice. They're not going to like sit there and say that sucked. I mean, I'd appreciate it if they did, but hopefully they tell me something like your audio was too low or your audio was too high, or I don't know why. I mean, if they give me constructive criticism, I don't care. But for the most part, well, either they like it and they say, hey, I like it, or you just don't hear anything from them.
Yeah, it sure seems that way in like comments and stuff. I don't usually go comment surfing, but from what I've seen, I haven't seen too much toxicity. I mean, I'm sure on some videos you'll get quite a few, but I mean, sometimes those comments can be completely invaluable to figuring out what you want to change and what you don't. And I mean, obviously not coming from a YouTuber, but just seeing what I'm seeing and seeing how the politics works on the site. And I mean, I think you're doing pretty good so far. And I still come back to your videos all the time and watch them if, I'm looking for something interesting that, something to ponder for later and things like that. And, I have had a lot of times where I walk away from some of your videos and it's like, wow, I did not know that. And I'm going to go look this up later. Or this is food for thought. And I'll spend like the whole day just thinking about it. Like what just happened.
Wow. Okay. Well, that's good to know.
Yeah.
Well, thanks. Yeah, because I try to put stuff in videos that I try to put information in there that would like if I say something, I want to put something in there to kind of back it up, even if it's just like a wiki leak or not a wiki leak, Wikipedia. Yeah, because the thing about Wikipedia, even though it can be edited by anybody and they're kind of sketchy, at least they give links down at the bottom so you can check those links. And if you click it and it goes to something that's gone or missing or whatever, they can kind of like it's a good place to start. It's not like the conclusion. It's not like that's the end all of somebody's research if they wanted to fact check me. But I think it kind of gives you a good jumping off point. Like you can see, okay, so they got this from this book, and then you can sort of look at and so you can kind of like verify those links, And for the most part, I think everything I say is accurate. If it's not, hopefully somebody will point it out, and people have. I've seen comments in videos where people have corrected me about something, either the way I pronounce something or a piece of information that I got wrong, or something I wasn't aware of, or something that I missaid or whatever. So I do have people who do check me, which is good, and I do appreciate that. I don't just sit there and say, oh yeah, well fuck you, block. Question my videos, screw you, you're out. No, I don't do that.
I'm an internet god, damn it.
Yeah, but I do block people if they're just stupid. Like if they just come in, like I went back and forth with this one guy. There was like 4 or 5 comments, and the last couple of comments were like, okay, if you don't make a point, I'm just going to ignore you and block you. And I gave them a chance, and they still like, well, you're a fucking, you're this and that, and you're just covering up for people, and you're a shill. And it's like, okay, all right, do you have a point? I understand you think I'm a shill and you think I'm full of shit, but how am I full of shit? How am I a shill? Explain yourself. If you don't explain yourself, yeah, I'm not going to respond to you anymore, And I got to the point with this guy where I just blocked him. It's like, I'm not going to get into it with somebody. If they want to disagree with something I say, that's fine, but give me something to work with. Don't just sit there and insult me over and over again.
Yeah, because then it's just pointless insults.
Mm-hmm.
If you can't back up your own insults, then do you really truly believe that, or are you just mad at something else and then taking it out on someone?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. I mean, I don't. People, if if they disagree with me about something, then that's great, and we can chat about it. And usually, though, when I get into it with somebody and they do give me like, oh, well, did you watch this video? And I look at the video. Yeah, actually, I did watch that video, and this is my response to that. And were you well aware of this, or were you well aware of, or were you aware of this part of the trial? It's like, yes, I'm well aware of that. And they're like, well, yeah, but what about this person who was convicted of, satanic ritual murder? And it's like, then you go and look at the thing, and it's like, no, they weren't charged with that. They were a psychopathic murderer, and they killed somebody, but it didn't have anything to do with satanic rituals. So it's like,
yeah.
Usually I get into like little arguments with people like that, and that I don't mind, because they're challenging my information, and then I just have to give the information, give them the counter information or whatever.
Yeah, and like you said earlier, you're usually very open about where you get the information from,
Mm-hmm.
right? Don't you usually like put a link in the description or like at the bottom of the video when you?
Yeah, I put a link so that people know that there is a link. Like if they want to check that, they can. The link is in the video, but it's also in the description bar, which I think I might have missed in a couple of videos. So if you do see a link that's missing, just let me know, and I'll put the link in there, because I try to put them in there. But yeah, so I try to put them in there so that people can go and look for themselves. Look at the information themselves and find out more, or at least see where I got that information.
Yeah.
Which is actually something that one of my viewers mentioned to me. They said that, hey, you should put links in your videos so people can check that information out. And I was like, you know what? You're right. So I started doing that.
Yeah. Well, it definitely makes you, come off as a little more reliable person, if you have them in the description so people can do their own research and, double check.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. That's exactly why I do it, so that they can. So, and I'm also covering my ass, I don't have to sit there and a couple of weeks later, no, like years later, let's say I put out a video and somebody challenges something that I said, and where did you get this information? I don't have to sit there and go through my notes and, look at the script and figure out where it is. I can just say it's in the video, and if you're curious, you'll find it in the video. So. Yeah. All right. Let me scan the chat for any last things.
Yeah, I have the chat on my TV right now, and it looks like it's there's quite a few interesting comments so far.
Yeah. Adamu Twin Rivers. Oh, sorry about that. Yeah. Yeah, but I think I will start to wrap it up. I kind of like doing this, releasing a video and then having a hangout afterwards, because I feel like it's kind of like, I feel it's nice to be able to engage people after I put out a video, and we can talk about it, and I can get feedback from people and stuff like that. It's kind of nice. And I also open this up in case Maria Isolda wanted to come on and talk. But I left it open to her. I said, she's busy tonight. So I said, well, hey, it's an open invitation. So, who knows? Maybe I'll have her on the channel, and she can tell me more about her position, and I can talk about my position with it. And And I'm hoping that people understood from the context of the video. It's like she's not somebody who I'm attacking, or I have a beef with or anything like that. I don't. I have a great deal of respect for her, and she has a great video YouTube channel. But she had an opinion that was different from mine, and I wanted to chat with her and make a video response to it. So
right, kind of like what you did with Thomas Dunn.
So yeah. So already, I think I'll wrap this up. Arisar, thank you so much for joining in here and being my wingman. It's
well, thanks for having
you're in
me.
here by yourself, you know.
Yeah, I mean, the chat can only get you so far, but it's nice to have someone to actually talk to.
Yeah, exactly. And I don't do well just sitting there talking to myself. All righty. All right. Well, and everybody in chat, thank you so much. If you haven't had a chance to go and check out my video, it's in my feed. I just recently put it up, and it's about Wicca without witchcraft, and you can make a video response to it. You can leave a comment. You could always contact me if you have any comments or questions or counterpoints or whatever, or make a video and let me know. And I think I'll go ahead and wrap it up. So thank you all, and Arisar, have a good night.
You as well.
All right.